2020. In this event, a total of 500 students of law, sociology, criminology, human rights studies, and genocide studies have joined us as participants from different national and international universities from home and abroad. We would like to thank to the Center for the Study of Genocide and Justice, Liberation War Museum, Dhaka, Bangladesh, for their support throughout the event.
Along with the event support, we cordially convey thanks to our media partners for their collaboration to publicize the second International Law Fest 2020. So, the credit goes to The Daily Star, Bangla News 24, Desh TV, News Now 24, Radio Today 89.6 FM. Special thanks to all of our media partners for their facilitation and support. Dear audience, at this stage, I am requesting Ms. Lutfur Nahar Shonchi, Vice President Advocacy of NILS Bangladesh and Organizing Head of Second International Law Fest 2020, to take the floor and say a few words about this Law Fest.
Thank you, Pratasha. Assalamu alaikum and good evening, Honorable Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, Program Chair, special guests, and my dear participants from home and abroad. I would like to express my utmost gratitude to everyone for being with us to make today's inaugural ceremony more delightful. This year, the core theme of the second Law Fest is International Conflict and Human Rights. We seek to create awareness and enrich knowledge on international conflict and human rights. This International Law Fest consists of 3 segments, namely the second International Humanitarian Law Moot Court Competition for the law students. This moot court competition seeks to raise awareness of the laws of war crime and genocide. It's an occasion for the law students to put their arguments of prosecution and defense and apply the applicable laws. NILS Bangladesh is happy to let you know that 30 teams were registered for the IHL Moot Court competition from Bangladesh and Nepal. Among them, 22 teams are qualified for the oral rounds after the memorial submission. The second segment is International Poster Presentation on Gender-Based Violence and Justice for the Rape Victims. This segment is particularly for the social sciences students. The present scenario of the world encourages us to arrange this international poster presentation for creating awareness on gender-based violence and rape. The main purpose of this poster presentation is to advocate for ensuring justice for the rape victims and also stop gender-based violence. The poster presentation is open for diverse backgrounds such as political science, criminology, law students, sociology. In this international poster presentation, there are more than 50 participants from Bangladesh, Thailand, and India. The third segment of this second International Law Fest is an international webinar, which is open for all professionals and students. Bearing in mind the history of Bangladesh genocide and the month of victory, NILS Bangladesh titles the webinar as Justice Mechanisms for Genocide, where more than 275 participants participated, including professional and students. As well as we have the experts from the USA, Australia, and Indonesia. Prior to that, as adjudicators of the moot court competition and the international poster presentation, we have with us senior judges, lawyers, academicians, researchers, experts from renowned national and international NGOs, and artists. In addition to all these 3 segments, we have a special inclusion of the second International Law Fest is the Cultural Night. To electrifying all the participants and our energetic organizers after 3 days of the hard work. In the end, I would like to express my special thanks to our most active and energetic organizers who are working so hard and sincerely for the last 2 months to organize this big second International Law Fest event. By saying this, I'm concluding my speech here. Thank you everyone again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lutfunnahar Sonchi, for your speech. Our heartiest gratitude to the honorable guest for coming to this event. Now it's time to introduce our honorable guest we have with us. We have a special guest and I am excited to introduce her at this ceremony. She completed Advanced LLM from South Asian University, India. She received SARC Silver Jubilee Scholarship from India in 2013 and South Asian Scholarship from South Asian University in 2012. We are truly blessed to have such a remarkable person here. She is Christine Richardson, ma'am, Associate Professor and Chairperson, Department of Land Management and Law, Jagannath University. Now I am going to welcome another highly meritorious person who received PhD from the University of Dhaka. She has a great contribution in writing books and publications in law field. We are indeed privileged to have this noted educationalist, Professor Dr. Farhana Helal Mehtab, ma'am, Associate Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, Daffodil International University. As our special guest, it's our privilege to have such a person who is widely recognized as one of the rising formidable lawyers of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. His passion for legal education and teaching law has helped him to be one of the finest lawyers of his generation, and he has significantly contributed to the legal education in Bangladesh. He is none other than Advocate Shah Manjurul Haq sir, Senior Lawyer, Appellate Division, Supreme Court of Bangladesh, and head and founder of Haq and Associates, and Honorable Advisor of NILS Bangladesh.
Along with him, our guest of honor is present here on the session of today's special ceremony. He has made a mark in the field of administration by his sincerity, punctuality, devotion, and dedication to duty. A person of such magnitude will truly inspire us. I feel honored to utter the name of Mofidul Haq sir, Founder Trustee, Liberation War Museum, Dhaka, Bangladesh, and Director of Center for the Study of Genocide and Justice, Liberation War Museum. Dear audience, hold your breath, as now I am introducing our distinguished chief guest of this prestigious event. Before I pronounce our chief guest's name, I would like to say the best teachers teach from the heart, not from the book. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, he is one of the best teachers and an internationally renowned legal personality. He has already made a mark in the field of judiciary of Bangladesh. Honorable dignitaries, most valued participants and viewers, it's my tremendous honor to introduce our honorable chief guest, Muhammad Imman Ali sir, Honorable Justice, Appellate Division, Supreme Court of Bangladesh. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Honorable Chair of this ceremony, Professor ABM Abu Noman sir, Dean, Faculty of Law, University of Chittagong. He has been one of the main proponents of this program from the very beginning. It is a true standout in this field. He has a great understanding of what it takes to truly make the event continue on a path of progress and remarkable vision in the future of the journey.
Sir and Madam, undoubtedly your presence really made us very happy and made the event more gorgeous. Therefore, on behalf of NILS Bangladesh, I would like to give thanks to all the dignitaries for sparing their precious time for us and gracing the occasion with their presence. Dear audience, to make this event successful, the persons who have constantly contributed with their valuable time, support, and guidance, they are no one but Mr. Muhammad Mamun, President, NILS Bangladesh, and Ms. Lutfunnaha Shonchi, Vice President, Advocacy, NILS Bangladesh, and the organizing head of the event. We express our humble gratitude to both of them.
We are greatly indebted to Nasrin Sultana Madam, founder trustee and founding president of NILS Bangladesh, for her valuable lead. Please welcome to express your special remarks about the event. I am requesting Nasrin Sultana Madam to come to the microphone. Madam.
Thank you so much, anchors. It was a nice evening with all dignitaries. I am Nasrin Sultana, welcoming you all to the platform of NILS Bangladesh. This is our really privilege to have the extraordinary people in today's program. We have the chief guest, MD Imman Ali sir, who is the who is the mirror of wisdom, who is the pioneer of how judges can be. He's the look of the judges that should be the idol for everyone. And today we have Shah Monjurul Haq sir, Advocate Supreme Court of Bangladesh. Sir is very special to us in regards of guiding and advising NILS Bangladesh. We have Mofidul Haq sir, founder, trustee, Liberation War Museum, who is truly my teacher when I was a student of Winter School of Liberation War Museum. Sir is a legendary figure in Bangladesh, whom we can follow, whom ideals is exemplary for everyone. We have Farhana Halal Mehtap ma'am, who is the continuous support of NILS Bangladesh, who is advising, guiding us from the very beginning of the inception of NILS Bangladesh. We have Christian Researcher ma'am, who is another profile who is the continuous support to the NILS Bangladesh and contributing in all aspects of NILS Bangladesh, especially in terms of advising to the program and others. We are very privileged to have you here. This is the platform for all law students from home and abroad, and we got that supports from other countries also. We have many international participants in this event, which is tremendous example of that network really connects. This is the network for international law students, and that network really connects the people from different parts of the globe. And the theme of this International Law Fest is international conflict and human rights. So we are emphasizing on human rights, and we are emphasizing to stop all kind of international or international conflict which leads to the violation of human rights. So this is the month of December also. But we also have the same kind of conflict and a massive liberation war in 1971 when we faced genocide also. So this fest spiritually connects all countries which are the sufferer for the genocide or crime against humanity or war crimes. We're emphasizing that the world needs more peace and less conflict. This is the motto of International Law Fest. We all law students and other. This is important that in this fest we have also connect other social sciences students like criminology, political science, and psychology, etc. In poster presentation competition. The theme was gender-based violence and justice for the rape victims. So that is also a social message to be spreaded in all aspects of the globe. That's why we have connect other disciplines also in this theme, because the gender-based violence and this is the one of the gravest violation of human rights. So we have connect other disciplines also, so that our network can be spreaded, our message can be spreaded in a more spare field. That was the spiritual and theoretical purpose of this law fest. I think law students are thinking about the global peace that matters, that that has a grave implications in future, because today's new generation will be the future maker. So if they understand the importance of peace and human rights, then the world can be a beautiful one in near future. With all this hope, with a beautiful, peaceful, and harmonized, with a dream of beautiful, peaceful, and harmonized society, I am concluding my remarks here. Thank you so much.
Dear audience, at this moment, I would like to invite Mr. Muhammad Mamun, President of NILS Bangladesh, to welcome the gathering. Mr. Mamun.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chief Guest of the Inaugural Ceremony, His Excellency, Hon'ble Justice and the Imman Ali Sir, Honorable Justice of the Appellate Division of the Supreme Court of Bangladesh, Honorable Guest of Honor, Mr. Mofidul Haq Sir, Director of the Center for the Study of Genocide and Justice and Trustee of Liberation War Museum, Honorable Special Guest, Shah Munjurul Haq Sir, Advocate of Bangladesh Supreme Court and head and founder of Haq and Associates, Special Guest, respected Professor Dr. Farhana Halal Mehtap Ma'am, Associate Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, Daffodil International University, Special Guest, respected Christian Richardson Ma'am, Associate Professor and Chairperson, Department of Land Management and Law, Jagannath University, and the Chair of the Program, Professor Evnet Abu Sir, Dean, Faculty of Law, University of Chittagong. Respected members of Bangladesh Judicial Service, respected teachers, professionals, invited National Board members of NILS Bangladesh, and dear growing participants. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. This is my absolute privilege to be here today among some highly respected scholarly persons and before a bunch of young enthusiastic participants from home and abroad. This is undoubtedly a wonderful experience for me to be here today and hear one of the most charismatic, mesmerizing, and legendary personality, Honorable Chief Guest of today's ceremony, Justice Imman Ali Sir. This feels like dream came true. We are truly honored, privileged, and blessed to have your presence with us today, sir. I'm truly feeling inspired and blessed to have you with us in this program, sir. Today, we also have personality like Mofidul Haq Sir. Sir always inspired us with his intellectual guidance. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. We also have Advocate Shah Munjurul Haq Sir. I just can't wait to offer our gratitude to Munjurul Haq Sir for his continuous support as an advisor, always being so much cooperative, patronizing to NILS. Thank you, sir, for joining us. We also have Professor Farhana Halal Mehtap Ma'am, whose smiling face always brings confidence to us. Ma'am, truly, you always inspired us in every way possible. Thank you, madam. We also have Richardson Madam, who also inspires us every time with her presence and guidance. I would like to offer my heartiest gratitude to all our guests for joining us today, and also the chair of the program for providing and for always offering us the best support possible as an advisor of NILS Bangladesh, Professor A.B.M. Abu Nomad, sir. We are truly grateful to you, sir. In this point of talk, I would like to acknowledge the tiresome effort of the organizing body for their effort. 500 participants from 50 universities from home and abroad are now participating in this second International Law Fest. And this became possible for this tremendous effort for organizing this whole Law Fest, especially the organizing head, Lutfuna Shunchi, whose sweat-falling effort made this event much resourceful. I'm acknowledging her effort and would like to offer my appreciation to all the organizers for their tremendous effort to make this event successful. We acknowledge that all these are possible due to kind support, inspiration, and cooperation from our respected university authorities, respected teachers, respected guests, respected adjudicators, and also the sponsors who offered their cooperation to us. I would like to mention that the Hawk and Associates, which has been led by Advocate Shah Manjurul Haq sir, I would like to acknowledge their cooperation and also the contribution of Saklan Imman Bhaiya for his contribution for this event. Without their support, this was impossible for us to organize this program. Dear presence, with a view to promoting communication and networking among law students, as well as creating an open platform for where law students of Bangladesh will get the opportunity to grow up as skilled and potential souls. The Network for International Law Students, NILS Bangladesh chapter has started its journey, and since the very day of its inception, NILS Bangladesh has traveled to contribute to the field of legal education in Bangladesh through different initiatives, as well as promoted and appreciated skill enhancing initiatives by our university chapters. Right now, we are working in 48 universities around Bangladesh, and we organize seminars, workshops, moot court competition, debate competition, poster presentation competition, case presentation competition, law quiz competition, law fest, skill development projects, as well as we organize legal awareness program, court visit program. We run month-long mooting school and motivate young researchers to contribute to our online journal and so on. Along with all these, NILS ensure international exposure of Bangladeshi law students, and till now it has sent many students to participate in international events organized by NILS and other initiators. And right now, through this event, we are welcoming international participants also. In this point of talk, I would like to welcome you all to this grand gathering of intellectuals, professionals, and students. I welcome you all to Second International Law Fest. We believe NILS is the network of academically committed, legally skilled, and socially responsible law students who are assiduous learners and internationally minded. We also believe that through getting the cooperation, inspiration, and guidance from our guests, university authorities, teachers, adjudicators, and others, we can go along. I would like to thank all of you again, and I would like to welcome you all to this grand international law fest. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Mohammad Mamun. Dear audience, at this stage, we would like to thank all of those people whose hard work and cooperation must be acknowledged, and without whom it was not possible to arrange such a large event in the present situation of the country. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, the limelight is now on our organizers. 22 extremely talented and hardworking law students from different universities have been working relentlessly behind this event to make this successful. We truly appreciate these youngsters' hard work and cordial cooperation throughout the months. Those young minds are Imtiaz Bhuiya Mahi, Jahangirnagar University; Tanvirul Islam, International Islamic University, Chittagong; Kanis Fatima, International Islamic University, Chittagong; Shamima Kausar, BGC Trust University; Sharmin Sultana Shushmita, Southeast University; Rukhsana Jannat, Premier University; Munira Jahan, Bangladesh University of Professionals; Shamim Ahmed, Kumilla University; Mashrur Rahman Mahin, Jahangirnagar University; Nivriti Kobir, Jahangirnagar University.
And Nafia Mosarrat, BJC Trust University; Tanvir Kaisar Onindo, University of Chittagong; Saif Rasul, University of Asia Pacific; Muhammad Amdad Khan, CCN University; Khadija Akhtar Munni, CCN University; Tasnia Nishat Mim, University of Asia Pacific; SK Mahmuda, Kumilla University; Bajme Ara Ahmad Khan, Kumilla University; Afroz Jahan, Kumilla University; Mahzabin Rahman Rafa, LCLS; and Muhammad Iqbal Hussain, Kumilla University. Along with the organizers, we appreciate all the volunteers for their assurance to support this event. Dear audience, at this stage, I would like to give heartiest thanks to all of the organizers, volunteers, and supporters for their active engagement and fantastic hard work.
Now, there is something to express about our talented and energetic participants. We had huge responses in the event this year. There is an engagement of 500 students of different public and private universities. In the pandemic situation of COVID-19, all the participants have joined us as well, and we wish they will perform with high spirit throughout the event. All the participants will be presented with e-certificates of participation, and we have bucket of awards and trophies to be presented to the winners.
Dear audience, here it comes to the integral part of today's Grand Inauguration Ceremony. It's time to welcome to hear something special. Now, with pleasure, I am going to invite on microphone Christine Richardson, Madam, Associate Professor and Chairperson of Department of Land Management and Law, Jagannath University. Dear audience, please join me to welcome Christine Richardson, Madam.
Thank you. So before I begin, good evening to all. And I would also like to wish everyone a very happy Victory Day, as we just celebrated our Victory Day yesterday. It's always a pleasure to be present at programs organized by NILS, because NILS is a group of very young law students, innovative students, very active, with a lot of dreams, a lot of ideas. So it's always good to be with a group like this. And also it's good to have support from the Liberation War Museum, an organization that's very close to our hearts. So thank you again, NILS, for having me with you. This is the second International Law Fest. I'm privileged to be, I was privileged to be at the first one also, and now at the second one. Well, this is special because we are having the whole program virtually online, but I think the glamour isn't lost. The glamour is still there. And international law, at least when we were students at that time, it was considered more just a theoretical subject, and it much more theoretical, not very much practical or something. But today, international law is not something theoretical. It's far beyond theoretical. In today's global world, we are all interlinked, and especially this COVID situation has brought us, I think, more close together, virtually linked. As we all know that, as Martin Luther King said, that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So in any country, anywhere, wherever there is injustice, it spreads to all other countries. There's a effect in other countries also. So I'm happy that our young minds, our young law students, they need to have the capability, the skills of identifying these injustices so that they can work to establish peace and establish justice. So programs like this, international law festivals, where students from different parts of the world come together, they share their problems, the global issues. They learn through interaction from each other to identify the problems, to find the solutions. And I think this makes them much more skilled, much more confident, much more capable young leaders for tomorrow. So for that, I think NILS is a very good platform for doing this. So I don't, I'm sorry, I have a cough and it's troubling a lot. Actually, that's what I really had to say about the International Law Festival, that this is something very much that our law students need. And also they get to communicate with law students, academics from other countries. So this is a very good platform, and I hope our young law students will use the opportunity to learn more. They will take the opportunity of the exposure, make more friends internationally, and there'll be a group of strong international lawyers who will work to bring peace internationally. And we hope that peace is established, injustices will be properly addressed, and victims will get justice. Justice will no longer be only a dream. So thanks again, NILS, for inviting me here. And thank you, all the other distinguished guests who are here today. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your valuable time and remarkable speech. Now, I'm glad to invite distinguished one who earned a mountain respect from the students by her interactive lecture with wisdom. And the next dignitary to honor us with her presence is Professor Dr. Farhana Hilal Mehtab Madam, Associate Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, Daffodil International University. Please, Madam.
Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to you all. NILS, the name which is very close to my heart. We are delighted to be present here in the inaugural ceremony of Second International Law Fest 2020. Congratulations, the Network for International Law Students, Bangladesh. I'm truly honored to be in the guest panel where the chief guest is His Excellency Honorable Justice Muhammad Imman Ali, Appellate Division, Supreme Court of Bangladesh, and the guest of honor, Mr. Mofidul Haq, Director, Center for the Study of Genocide and Justice, and Trustee, Liberation War Museum. And my gratitude to the program chair and the other distinguished guests. Now about the guest of honor, Mr. Mofidul Haq, sir. I'm humbled to meet such a personality just after the day of victory, who took active part in the liberation war of Bangladesh in 1971. Now, in this independent Bangladesh, when we think about the justice for genocide victims, we think about Mofidul Haq, sir. His Bangla Academy Literary Prize and the Ekushe Padok National Award are the honor for all of us. Dear students, you'll be feel proud to listen that Mofidul Haq sir was profoundly involved with the national democratic struggle since his student life. Now, about the honorable chief guest. Just few days back, I was so glad to know from Ms. Nasrin Sultana, founder president in NILS Bangladesh, that Justice Imman Ali sir would be the chief guest of the ceremony. There are so many reasons to be glad, but most important is I would like to take the opportunity to tell sir how much his scholarly work is meant to me. What not sir done for the children of Bangladesh. Being the human rights law professor, I teach my students children's rights, and in my criminology class, I teach juvenile justice system of Bangladesh. And in both topics, the law is Children Act 2013, which is based on the CRC. Behind the screen of making this law, the person was Justice Imman Ali sir. Some of my students from Daffodil International University present here know that I shared in the class the 6 minutes 50 seconds speech of sir that was delivered at the time of receiving the Juvenile Justice Without Borders, the International Award. What a profound speech. Today, with others, I'm eagerly waiting to listen from both of them. And I know the law students will be enriched by the words of them. And for the students, a piece of advice. During this 2 days competition, don't be stressed or panic. Always remember two things will going to be happen. Either you will win or you will learn. There is nothing to be defeated. We all are going to be the achievers, inshallah. The law students of Bangladesh are always in my thoughts and prayers. My warm thanks to each and every single person of this festival, especially the organizing committee. The last but not least, Nasrin Sultana. To me, NILS means your love and life. My prayer is always with you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your deep and delightful thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's the time to hear the remarks from one of our remarkable persons of this law fest. Our special guest, Advocate Shah Munjurul Haq, sir, Senior Lawyer, Appellate Division, Bangladesh Supreme Court, Head and Founder of Haq and Associates, and Honorable Advisor of NILS Bangladesh. Please, sir, come to the microphone and say a few words for us.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. It's a very good evening. And the second edition of the International Law Fest, and the audience, especially our chief guest, Mr. Justice Imman Ali, the Honorable Judge of the Appellate Division, Bangladesh Supreme Court, and our guest of honor, and Mofidul Haq sir, Director, Center for the Study of the Genocide and Justice, and the Founder Trustee, Liberation War Museum of Bangladesh, and the other distinguished guests, and the Honorable Program Chair, ABM Abu Noman, Dean of Law, Faculty, University, Chittagong University, and the other participants, law students, and the students from criminology, social science, and other subjects. I am very honored and privileged to be here for saying some words about this program. The second edition of the International Law Fest is appropriately themed on the issue of the international conflict and human rights. And this was quite appropriately titled by the Bangladesh chapter of NILS, since Bangladesh has faced this issue during the Liberation War and continues to face them today. And this is the month of December, just the one after day of the Victory Day. One of the most unfortunate realities of collective humanity is that conflict around in all parts of the world. And it has been an unavoidable reality throughout the history. Whilst conflict among the always brings about death, misery, and so on and so forth, sometimes it becomes the only way for a nation to survive and fight against human rights abuses. Because it is sometimes unavoidable and maybe even necessary. That is why, under specific and strict guidance, international humanitarian law regulates the legitimacy of warfare in various circumstances. Indeed, Bangladesh is a country that was born out of a national conflict, which eventually became international conflict on the 26th March 1971. During the 1971 war, Pakistan utterly failed to abiding by the framework of international humanitarian law or even the laws of warfare under Islamic law. They committed war crimes, crimes against humanity, and many would argue genocide against the people of Bangladesh. Even though the Nuremberg and Tokyo trials had been conducted prior to that, international criminal law was still at a nascent stage, and the Cold War dynamics at the time meant that despite the commission of mass atrocities during 1971, the perpetrators of these crimes were not tried in court of law, nor were they punished otherwise. Although some of them have been tried in the International Crimes Tribunal recently here in Bangladesh, The political and military leaders such as Zahir Khan, Tika Khan were perhaps the main perpetrators of these mass atrocities, and therefore the ones most responsible who unfortunately escaped legal accountability. Bangladesh continues to deal with these issues today, especially in relation to the Rohingya at the international level. The issue has been taken up by both the ICC and ICJ. In that regard, our academics, practitioners, as well as law students, and the other students from different disciplines should develop greater expertise in this field of international law. We must be prepared for the realities on the ground as we see how the Rohingyas have been driven out to their own homes and how we have had to give them shelter. And how can we not give them shelter? When in 1971 we faced a similar situation in Bengali, had to seek refugees in India for some time. At this point, it is clear that the Rohingya situation is potentially going to be a long protected one. International justice mechanisms have started to operate, and this is an area where international law students in Bangladesh and NILS in particular can take a leading and proactive roles, especially through writing journals, articles, organizing more conferences and other social activities, both home and abroad. Given our past history and current circumstances, it is paramount that we develop greater expertise and experience in international law so that Bangladesh is able to contribute and play an increasingly leading role in the field of international law. I again want to thanks to the organizers of this festival, and I hope that this festival will create some hope and encourage the students to work regarding international law, regarding humanitarian law, and to make the world more peaceful and happy world to the world. Thanks to all. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, sir, for your extraordinary remarks in this event.
Dear audience, at the moment, I am honored to share that it will now the turn of our guest of honor, Mofidul Haq sir, founder, trustee of the Liberation War Museum and director of the Center for the Study of Genocide and Justice, Liberation War Museum, Dhaka, Bangladesh. We are going to hear our guest of honor, Mofidul Haq sir. Sir, please.
Good evening to everybody, and the Honorable Chair of the Second International Law Fest, our very close friend, Professor Noman of Chittagong University, and the chief guest of this Second International Law Fest, Honorable Justice Muhammad Abu Noman, a very respected justice of the Appellate Division with lot of contribution in development of law in Bangladesh. Also, the distinguished personalities in the podium, Associate Professor Christian Richardson of Jagannath University. Also, we work together in many areas, especially on the issue of justice and genocide. And Professor Dr. Farhana Hilal Mehtab of Daffodil University. There are a lot of fans of her Mongol Barta, and she guided the young students of the Daffodil University. I will say that we really have great admiration for her. Advocate Shah Manzurul Hassan. He not only rendered support behind the NILS, but also his deliberation has shown us that we are all in a joint struggle, in a common struggle to promote the international humanitarian law, and especially to promote the cause of justice for the genocide that has been committed in 1971, and also for the justice for the Rohingya, the victim of genocide in our neighboring country. Today, we pay respects to our martyrs. It's just one day after the great day in our national life, the Victory Day. The country got its independence through a lot of sacrifice, and that day was preceded by the Martyred Intellectual Day, a kind of brutality that has unparalleled in human history. Genocide is called the crime of the crimes. And also now there are study made that during the genocide, during Holocaust, there were many incidents of extreme brutality. And the intellectual murder of our great intellectuals are also another case of extreme brutality, which needs to be studied, because when we try to study genocide, we look into what happened. But for this new generation and for the law students, it is also very important to understand why it happened. And I think that's a very important question. And today I am happy at the same time I'm also sad, because the first International Law Fest, when the organizers, the young activists, they came to the museum with that idea, we offered our venue to them. And we were really greatly honored, and I would say that it was a great pleasure for us to see that hundreds of young students, activists, they crowded the museum, and for 3 days it was a festivity at our museum that they organized many different kind of events. They went through the galleries, they learned about the past history, and they were really, it was inspiration for both of us. And this time we are sad because of the situation that the law fest could not be held, and we were just thinking that what NILS will do now. But then they came up with the brilliant idea that they will do it online on the digital platform. And this is something very appreciable, that in spite of the great difficulty, in spite of the dark scenario, the young people has taken up the cause and looked for new ways and new opportunities and creating new platform. And I am really amazed by the number of participants that you have got, the enthusiasm that has been generated, and most importantly, that the second International Law Fest has highlighted the issue of genocide in many different aspects. In the moot court competition, the theme is genocide, and in the international poster competition, it is the violence against women. This is a great curse for humanity, for all society, and it is a common struggle also for the humanity. And also in the international webinar, it is the justice mechanism for genocide. And I think that has great relevance with our past, with our history. And Shah Manjurul Haq has rightly explained that there are many issues which still remain unaddressed, and one of them is the issue of the major perpetrators. The existing international law will not allow us to put them on trial, because when the Rome Statute was adopted and the International Criminal Court initiated its process in 2002, they made it part of their legal formation that they will not go for retrospective justice. So then what is the way out? There are different options that the international humanitarian community has tried to develop, like the transitional justice or other form of justice. So we should look into these aspects, that how we can, even if the existing law bars us from going for the trial or other kind of justice issue, but we should look for other ways. And also now with the influx of the Rohingya refugees in 2017, and now Bangladesh has given shelter to 1 million refugees. And this has created another example to the world community, that we as a victim of genocide in 1971 is now rendering support to another victim of genocide in our neighboring land, and also trying to promote the cause of justice. And in spite of the global scenario, and also not much been done by the UN Security Council, we can see that there are some sign of changes, and this has been reflected in the ICC and also in the International Court of Justice. And ICC, the way the prosecutors has made the case, the argued, and the way the court adopted the case is also very interesting from international criminal law. That Myanmar is not a signatory to the Rome Statute, but the case has been adopted by ICC. So law students have a lot to study, lot to learn, and also a lot to contribute. And I think that's very important, that it is not just an academic exercise that you are engaged in. And NILS has shown that the students, under the able guidance of their professors and academics, they are moving forward and they are expanding their horizon, and they are adapting the broad global international humanitarian causes. And I think that is the spirit of Bangladesh. That is the way Bangladesh struggled for its right independence, which is very much part of the struggle of right of the nations for self-determination for the colonized or dominated country. And so the emergence of Bangladesh has given a new dimension to the struggle of humanity. And now the struggle against the genocide and crimes against humanity, which is continuing, and which humanity has made an oath to confront with the Genocide Convention and say never again. And with the Rohingya issue, I think the young generation today has lot of challenges to meet, and they always excel when they embrace the challenge. And from the Center for the Study of Genocide and Justice of the Liberation War Museum, many of the NILS activists are very much involved with the center, and also from their alma mater, from your academic mentors. We are actually forming a network and coalition. And we are always happy when law students get associated with the center's work, either in research or in international networking, or addressing the Rohingya issue, going to the camps, collecting testimony, trying to stand by the victims. So the learning process, they have actually taken it beyond their classroom. And I think that's very important for the law graduates, law students. And finally, I would like to draw your attention to 2021. We are going to celebrate 50th anniversary of our independence in 2021, which is also 50th anniversary of Bangladesh genocide. So we have a big challenge before us, that we need to work together, and especially with the involvement of the younger generation, to present the past history of Bangladesh genocide to the global community, to present that so that the international community can also learn from the past, and we can also learn from the past, and we can work together to confront genocide anywhere, which unfortunately is continuing, and which is a scourge on mankind. And we as victim nation has a more strong voice and commitment to be part of the struggle, and not only to be part of the struggle, also to lead the struggle of the global community, so that we can strongly say that such atrocity will never again happen again anywhere. And for any past atrocity, the justice should be rendered, and we must ensure that. So I wish you all success in your events, and also invite you that when the dark cloud will clear, you will come to the museum, and we are ready to host meals for any kind of event that they plan. And let's move forward with the 50th anniversary, and try to formulate joint action program, joint events, collective programs, so that we can bring back the forgotten genocide of Bangladesh into the annals of the genocide of 20th century. And this, I think, what we owe to our martyrs, to those for whose sacrifice we can see a Bangladesh which is developing, which is flourishing and which has the obligation so that no one will be left behind and all our progress will be shared by all our citizens. So thank you all, and thank you especially for inviting me to be part of the celebration. We wish you success in your 2 days magnificent program that you have formulated. And finally, I can say that this year we are partner to your effort, but we could not do much. But what I can say that we will try to do is yesterday as the culmination of our Victory Day celebration, we celebrate it from 10th December to 16th December, as 10th December is the International Human Rights Day. But for last 3 years, we also add 9th December, which has recently been declared by UN as a day for the commemoration of victims of genocide and prevention of genocide. And on 16th December, at the event, week-long event ended with a concert by the young band groups. Under the difficult circumstances, they performed at the Liberation War Museum stage, but get it recorded, and it was put on television yesterday night. So we, with your gala cultural night, we can add maybe 2-3 songs as a gift from us to you. So we will hand it over to you so that at the end of your hard work, you can celebrate in a joyous mood. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your fruitful views and experiences. Dear audience, please pay your attention on the screen. I consider it as a great honor to welcome such a person who are our idol and role model of the generation. We are very proud to have him as our honorable chief guest. We are eagerly concentrated to Muhammad Imman Ali sir, Honorable Justice, Appellate Division, Supreme Court of Bangladesh. Sir, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Professor Abu Noman, distinguished guests, faculty members, dear students from home and abroad, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and Assalamu alaikum. Yes, I'm afraid I also have a slight problem with my throat, like so you'll have to excuse my voice. First of all, I want to say that in this month, memorable month of December, we achieved victory 49 years ago. We achieved victory from foreign occupation. Yesterday, I remember that day 49 years back, when in the streets of London, we were chanting Joy Bangla. I was a student at the time and studying in England. On this day, let us pay homage to Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who was an epitome of human kindness. At his beck and call, 7.5 crore, he called for 7.5 crore people of Bangladesh, their rights. He wanted to establish their rights. And what he did now stands as an example throughout the world for the rights of the downtrodden people all over the world. Let us also recall the sacrifice of 3 million Bengalis who gave their lives and all their dignity for the sake of the soil, for the sake of our country. And let us not forget that it is due to their sacrifice that we are here today in a free country. We got our well-deserved freedom, but sadly, greed overtook us due to some unscrupulous elements within our country. We had a decade of dictatorship. We again got our second liberation, if I can put it this way, on the 6th of December in 1990. Now, the presenter, I think it was Pratasha, who at the very beginning said, none is above the law. Unfortunately, it is the few who believe themselves to be above the law who create the problems for the rest of us in this world. And as a result, our world is forever in turmoil. There are continuous problems throughout the world, and it seems to be never ending. The topics that you have chosen are very timely and relevant problems faced by societies across the globe. Two of the topics relate to war. The international humanitarian law is set of rules which seek for humanitarian reasons to limit the effect of armed conflict. It relates to war. The other one, genocide, also relates to war. It's a crime against humanity, crime against people of society. The third one, the one relating to violence against women, that again, I would say, is a war. It's a war against the dignity and humanity of women. Now, I want to start with the very common adage that we all hear, and that is that we learn from our mistakes. I have to say that that is fake. It is not true, because it seems that we do not actually learn from our mistakes, or at least we do not learn very well. And whatever we learn, just like students, we forget very quickly. Maybe in the future, Uncle Google will tell us whenever we make the same mistakes again. You know, when you get pictures suddenly thrown into your message box saying, this is what you did 5 years ago. These are the pictures from 10 years back. So maybe Uncle Google will tell us that this is the mistake you made 10 years ago. Let me give you some examples. Let us go back a little. When we talk about conflicts, let us talk about the First World War. It's not too far back. The First World War is relatively recent history. 1914 to 1918. 10 million lives were lost in that war. And why? Because of aggression in order to amass more land, more territory for the empires. But having lost so many lives, the nations decided that there should be amity for the sake of preserving humanity. Then we had the Treaty of Versailles, which ended the war in an armistice, and the League of Nations were created in 1920 for establishing peace and security for people. And then guess what happened? Greed overtook us again. Some countries decided that they wanted more landmass to be amassed to their territories. Already they had an empire. They wanted more countries as part of their empire. And as a result, we had the Second World War from 1939 to 1945. And this time, between 40 and 50 million lives were lost. And this time there's a global war. In fact, Bangladesh, being part of the British Empire at that time, we fought on behalf of Great Britain. Land as far as America, Canada, and the other side, Japan, were all involved in this war. So the countries, the nations, put their heads together again and created UN to fight together against the axis of power that was the Allies against Rome, Tokyo, and Berlin, who were the expansionists at that time. The UN officially came into being in 1945. We had the Jubilee year this year. At that time, there were 51 states. Now there are 193 member states. Bangladesh was admitted in 1974. The purpose was to prevent future wars. Did we achieve that purpose? Uncle Google tells me that since then, there have been 112 and more wars across the globe. So, what happened? What went wrong? Did the UN achieve, has the UN achieved what it set out to do? You'll remember that article, according to Article 7, there were some core elements, organs of the UN, and that were including the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic Social Council, this Trusteeship Council, and the Court of Justice, the Secretariat. Now, the International Court of Justice still continues. That oversees some of the work that we are going to be dealing with, or you are going to be dealing with in the next 3 days. And there were other subsidiary organs. There is now a myriad of organizations and bodies under the UN umbrella. Not forgetting UNICEF, which was established in 1946, 74 years last Friday. UNHCR, UNDP, UNODC, UNOCT, you name it. They're everything that we now deal with. Any aspect of humanitarian law, any aspect of human rights, there will be someone dealing with that. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 10th of December, 1948. It was determined to affirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of human person, in equal rights of men and women, and the nations large and small. Now, these are big words. They're very ambitious words, recognizing the inherent dignity of the human being. Let me just give you one example to ask ourselves how far that ambition has been matured into reality. Article 14, everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. Now, we have the Rohingyas. We are grateful, we are proud that our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has readily agreed to accommodate, now the figure is 1 million refugees from Myanmar. They have been ousted from their homes. They have been faced with genocide in their own country. Then Article 15, everyone has the right to nationality. Do the Rohingyas do they not have a right to their nationality of the country, of the soil that they belong to, that they have been inhabiting for the last hundreds of years? So, where is our vision of common humanity? The largest refugee population now lives in Cox's Bazar, displaced because their home country is not recognizing them as nationals. What happened to UDHR, sorry. Article 15 again, everyone has the right to nationality. What about the returning foreign fighters who fought in the ISIS? They all belong somewhere. They're all citizens of some country. But then now, even the countries of which they are citizens are denying them entry back into the country. More importantly, the children of those fighters. Fighters may have done something wrong, and I believe they have done something wrong. But then what about the children? Did the children do anything wrong? We had 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old children who were portrayed as fighters, and they're being denied entry back into the country of their parents. Some of them were born there, and generally, by law, they are citizens of the country of which their parents are citizens. But so much so, they are being denied entry into the country of which they are citizens. There was an expert committee under the auspices of the UNOCT, and I was called as an expert on this issue. And we decided, there was a handbook issued as a result of our several meetings that we had in New York. We decided that the children particularly had a right to go back or to be taken to the countries of which they are nationals, and therefore they are nationals either of the countries from which they came as babies or children, or indeed the nationals of the countries of which their parents are citizens. But still, we know that there are thousands of children stranded in Syria because the countries to which they belong will not accept them back. But as I said, the UN has got so many other branches now which are delivering the benefits to human rights issues, trying to solve the problems of human rights. For example, the gesture that UNICEF made in 1971. If you remember, some of you must remember the concert that was organized by Ravi Shankar and Harrison, the Beatles, which took place in Madison Square Garden in New York. Millions of dollars were raised, and they were used to help the refugees that were generated in Bangladesh at the time, and the children. Even now, the discs which were made at the time, they, of course, are bringing in royalties, and that is being used by UNICEF, and partly, obviously, in Bangladesh to their work here. Now, you're going to be talking about genocide. What is genocide? Genocide is the killing of a whole race of people of some ethnicity, some ethnic group. Annihilation of the people of a certain race, ethnic, religion, or religious group. It is the cleansing of society. Because, for example, you take Hitler. He thought that everyone with blonde hair and blue eyes was the perfect person, and therefore all else had to be annihilated, particularly the Jews. I do believe if the films that we saw are correct, then Hitler himself had brown hair. So, genocide, the Convention on Genocide came into being on 9th of December, 1948. So we've just celebrated the anniversary. By now, 152 countries have ratified it. What is genocide? Genocide is acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group as such. What is important is Article 2 of the Genocide Convention. If I can just read it for you. In the present convention, genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy a whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group as such, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. Now, this is the definition that has come forth since 1948. So we missed out on all the genocide that happened before. The genocide that happened in South America by the Spanish, killing off all the Incas and all the other native inhabitants of the land. The genocide of the people of North America, the Red Indians. Genocide of the people of Canada, the first people. Genocide of the Aborigines in Australia. Before this Genocide Convention came about, it was Raphael Lemkin who formulated the concept of genocide. And he held the view that colonialism itself is a genocide, is intrinsically genocidal. The indigenous population of the USA declined by more than 80% in 1900. Lemkin also talked about cultural genocide, that is, which refers to a situation where the community is allowed to live, but cannot practice its religion or culture. I can just give you one example. I was in Kyrgyzstan some years ago. We were guided by a young lady. She must have been about 18 or 20. She was Muslim. Obviously, Kyrgyzstan is, I think, majority Muslim, by and large all. And we asked her whether she could recite Kalma. And yes, with some difficulty, she recited. And then we asked her, what about drink? She said, we drink alcohol. What about eating the pork? Then she asked, is there anything wrong with eating pork? So her teaching has been only so far as kalma and nothing more. She has not been able to learn about what is written in the Quran. Now, these people were Muslim. I was in Armenia. There are mosques there which are not inhabited by any Muslims. They're very pretty, beautiful mosques, all empty. I was in Sofia. Again, the main mosque there. The Imam is from Turkey. And when I talked to him, he said, there are no Muslims here. We had to be brought here from Turkey in order to teach them the religion again. So this is cultural, or if you like, religious genocide. Not allowing the person to practice their own religion, their own culture. And so we've had the Genocide Convention since 1948. And how many genocides have taken place in these years? Dozens. As recorded by, again, Uncle Google will tell you. And how many have been legally recognized? Rwanda in 1994, Bosnia in 1995, and Cambodia in 1975 to 79. And we talk about the genocide in Bangladesh. We all know about the genocide in Bangladesh, but no recourse yet to the law. The ICC, the International Criminal Court, has taken cognizance of the atrocities that took place in Myanmar on the petition by Gambia. And probably it was easier since Bangladesh was, I suppose, intelligent enough, I would say, to ratify the treaty in 2010. Then look at what's happening in China. The Uyghurs, they are facing persecution. They are one of those categories where we understand the females are being forcibly made to have family planning so that they don't have any children. And their case has been turned down by the ICC, as I think yesterday I read. Why? Because China is not a signatory to the Rome Statute. And China, you all know, is one of the 4 or is it 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. Such a powerful member of the United Nations. And yet they are getting away with something as awful as genocide, if it could be proved, because they are not members of the Rome Statute, and therefore the ICC has no jurisdiction over them. The Yazidis are under attack from Iraq. The atrocities committed by the Tamils in Sri Lanka between 1983 and 2009 was never recognized as genocide. There was a case of bombs, napalm orange bombs, I think they were called, which were thrown in Vietnam by the United States. I remember one dealing with the case of the shipbreaking case. I actually mentioned this because it so happened that the record shows that the US dropped around 400,000 tons of this chemical in the forests of Vietnam. Now, the idea was not to kill off all the enemy. The idea was to burn down the forests so that the guerrillas would not hide there. And yes, some got burnt, most escaped, some killed. But what is more important, in my view, is the fact that even today, they are getting children who are born with deformities because of the effect of that dioxin used in those bombs. So, where are we? Is the law the international law effective? The UN is sometimes referred to as a tiger without teeth. Should these organizations under the UN umbrella be more effective, be made more effective? Now let me talk about something else, which again is equally to do with human rights, the rule of law. And Professor Numan asked me at the very beginning that he wanted to know something about what we did during the pandemic with regard to delivery of justice. Well, again, I can talk about it because it is relevant. Suddenly, you all remember March 7th or 8th, the first discovery of COVID in our country. At that time, just after that, the Supreme Court went on vacation. Then the pandemic started, the government declared a general holiday, national holiday. So there was no court available, there was no parliament available, and there was no way for us to even draft a law in order to allow virtual hearings of cases. India, the Supreme Court issued a rule, suo motu rule in their court, and issued orders in order to facilitate virtual hearings. In England, they actually had a law passed in order to enable remote hearings of cases. We were stuck. It's not to say that the delivery of justice totally came to a halt, but we were prevented from hearing cases, that is for sure. We rallied. We are all must be very grateful to the Honorable Chief Justice of Bangladesh. He showed dynamism. We discussed the matter and we rallied in order to get the ordinance passed so that we could have virtual hearings of our cases. And we adopted literally many ad hoc solutions because our lawyers were not able to join virtually. The police did not have the facilities. Some lawyers had laptops, others didn't. Some lawyers had smartphones, so they could only use WhatsApp. So we said, whatever, however you can, do it. Because I was very concerned about the overcrowding in our prisons. We have a capacity of around 41,000 prisoners in all our prisons. And at that time, we had more than 90,000 prisoners in our jails. And if the pandemic had reached the jails, there would have been havoc, total disaster. The children's detention development centers, the capacity was around 600. And at that time, we had 1,150 odd children in those 3 development centers. Again, children are at all times vulnerable. Prisoners are vulnerable. And they are, of course, most vulnerable when such pandemic is surrounding them. Parents are worried, what will happen? But thank God we managed to get a lot of the prisoners out. We are blessed with a team of judges who were very willing and eager to help us get over the situation. And with the help and cooperation of the judiciary, the cooperation and dynamism of the Honorable Chief Justice, we managed to get over this. And now we are still using the virtual system in the Appellate Division. We have 2 benches sitting and all the lawyers are appearing without any difficulty, I dare say. And the fact is that you'll be surprised, we are now disposing more cases than we did when we were dealing with them physically. And we have made provisions for those lawyers who cannot access the system. We have said that you go to the courtroom, there will be a monitor, you can see all the judges, you can see all the lawyers present, and at the same time, the judges and others, everyone present in the meeting can see you because we have a monitor and a camera in the courtrooms. We have High Court Division where I believe 35 benches are operating virtually. And there we have said that if any lawyer should feel any difficulty in appearing virtually, then he can appear from the court. The courtroom is equipped with a monitor, large monitor, and a camera, so that he can be seen and he can see everyone present. Equally, those courts which are sitting physically, I've asked the judges to ensure that if any lawyer says that he cannot appear physically in court because he feels vulnerable, he feels difficulty, then allow him to appear virtually. Again, the court is can be equipped with monitor and a camera so that whoever is in court can see the person who is appearing virtually. So we have tried our best in order to accommodate even those who feel that they cannot access the system. We have tried to make sure that access to justice is not denied to anyone. We have had litigants personally appearing because they cannot appear physically from anywhere else. So we have asked them to come into the courtroom. We have had lawyers appearing from Australia, from Switzerland, from England. So it is not that difficult. We are operating from home. We have our library. And when we do not have the books, the relevant decisions, with the help of the lawyers, with the help of internet, we can actually get the legal decisions and show them on the, share them on the screen. This way, we are delivering justice. This is the human right of the citizen to have justice in accordance with law. And therefore, what we are doing is we are giving the rights to the people. And again, I suppose I must thank UNDP, who have helped us, and the A2I team, who have helped us in order to facilitate this program of virtual hearings. So what I want to say finally is that human rights is every right of every human being. Lawyers, even any citizen, is duty bound to protect the human rights of all others. It is only those who are in some way trying to amass more through their greed, some way they feel that they are greater than the law, above the law. Only those who create the problems for the rest of us. It is our inane duty to protect those who are suffering from the lack of the rights, those who are being deprived of the rights, those who are living, those who are having their lives, liberty denied to them. And I hope that the students who are listening today, the students who will take part in the deliberations and the mood competition during the next 2 or 3 days, they will research and ensure that national law as well as international law will help those downtrodden, those who are without relief otherwise than through these international instruments and national laws. It is the duty of all of us, particularly lawyers and judges, to ensure that the rights of the citizen are given to them. I thank the organizers for inviting me. I have spoken for a long time, and I do it, I suppose, consciously and perhaps subconsciously. I do it because I know there are faculty members present. I do it to impress the faculty members, because next year, if I become redundant, then hopefully they will give me a job as a lecturer. Thank you all very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable thoughts and the most inspiring presence. At this stage, may I please request our Honorable Chair, Professor ABM Abonoman, sir, Dean, Faculty of Law, University of Chittagong, to share his views. Sir, please. Sir, please unmute the microphone.
Now it's working?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you so much for giving me the floor. The Honorable Chief Guest of the ceremony, the legendary personality, His Excellency Honorable Justice Muhammad Imman Ali sir, Appellate Division, the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. The guest of honor, Mr. Mofidul Haq sir, I call Mofidul Bhai, our lighthouse, Director, Center of the Study of the Genocide and Justice, Founder Trustee, Liberation War Museum. Another special guest, the learned advocate Shah Munjurul Haq, the senior lawyer of the Appellate Division, Bangladesh Supreme Court, and the honorable advisor of the NILS Bangladesh chapter. Professor Dr. Farhana Hilal Mehtap of the Daffodil International University, Professor Christian Richardson of the Jagannath University, distinguished participants and students from home and abroad. Assalamu alaikum, a very, very good evening and warm greetings of our great Victory Day. At the very first of my speech, I convey my deepest respect to our father of nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who not only gave me a map in the world mapping cycle, but also give me directions and give me a nice and the wonderful and the pro-people constitution, how to advance in our national and the daily life. So I convey my deepest respect to our 3 million martyrs of our great liberation war and the 250,000 our mothers, daughters, and sisters who sacrificed their lives and honor to free our country from the Pakistani perpetrators. I'm very much happy and delighted to associate with the NILS from the first day of its establishment as advisor. I know the people who are working to success the all events of the NILS. They're not only the young stars, they're the very effective and the enthusiastic. Because when we're talking about to success an event like the International Law Fest, International Moot Court competitions, or any other webinar or the international seminar, this is very hard to success. But our students, they did it. So I am very much delighted and happy to work with such young law stars of our country and of the globe. We have already known that NILS is an international organization run by and for the students among 28 countries in the world. And it is you are happy to know that the NILS Bangladesh is recognized the national chapter of the national chapter of the year among the 28 countries in the last year. And this is also a pride of our country. And when we're talking about the motto of the NILS is to make law students internationally minded, academically committed, legally skilled, and socially responsible. This is very important. When you're talking about the law students in our jurisprudence class, that the sociological theory of the jurisprudence, the law students and the future lawyers, they are also regarded as the social engineer who have a great role to ensure the justice in the society. So when the NILS fix their motto, NILS Bangladesh chapter, they have to insert these words that the today's law students and the future law personnel and the judges and the advocate, they have to responsible socially to ensure the justice in the society. So if we look at the International Law Fest, I think the first one physically, and our Genocide Center, Mofidul Haq Bhai has already mentioned that this is a really true help. When the student visited our Liberation War Museum, then they easily understand what atrocities would happen in our country, in this soil. 3 million people per day, it's ranked near about the 11,000 to 12,000. Oh my God, when we're talking about this story to our foreign friends, even most of the people around the world, they didn't know the atrocities, but it was happened in our soil. So yes, this time due to the pandemic situation, the students, they are not getting this opportunity. But I sincerely believe the today's shape of the Liberation War Museum has been changed. And the Mufidul Haq Bhai, he is one of the playing a great role to establishment of this great building, as well as the other momentous inside the building. So I sincerely believe that the joint collaboration with the NILS and the Liberation War Museum and the Genocide Center, this is what we think today, because our future generation, our law students and our students, they have to know our real history, how our people, our freedom fighters, our father of the nations, they're paying there a lot of sacrifices to make our nation free from the Pakistani perpetrators. So I sincerely believe, and Mufidul Haq Bhai also ensure that when the dark cloud will be gone, then our students will get the same chance. And I sincerely believe, since the NILS, they have the 48 chapters, 48 committees in different law school in both public and private universities. So there is a joint collaboration with the NILS and the Liberation War Museum to visit the Liberation War Museum and the other activities. So it will be it will be great for the future generation to better understanding of our sacrifices and what will be happen in the 1971 in our great liberation war. If we look at the, I think the theme of this second international law fest, the conflict, international conflict and human rights. Our chief guest is wonderful. In brief, he described the history, modern history of the conflict, which started from the First World War. You know, when I studied my second level master's LLM in human rights in the Hong Kong University, I have the chance audited a course. This is the conflict and the justice. Mufidul Haq Bhai, you have to recover your memory. My supervisor, Professor Susanna Linton, she came in Bangladesh in 2009 and joined in your first international conference on the genocide. So when they were talking about the atrocities in different Asian countries like the Cambodia, Vietnam, and the other things. So at that time I was mute, and then my supervisor asked, "What happened to Professor Noman? I think, do you know the incident of the Bangladesh? What was happening in 1971?" Or but a little bit. They knew as the conflict or war between the India and the Pakistan. But this is the one source of the motivation. And I did a little study. Mufidul Haq Bhai have already known that a little study on the how the perpetrators come under the justice. At that time, our tribunal was not formed. Mufidul Haq Bhai, our tribunal was not formed. So what we did a lot. We did a lot to draw the attention of the international community. When they are talking about our tribunal, they're not maintain the international standard. And we people, we are different. We maintain the all aspect of the international standard to rendering the justice by our international crimes tribunal, international criminal tribunal. So this is very important. So I sincerely believe from these law fest, the participants, it is easy to understand the norms of the genocide, because genocide, it is the under the genocide, this is the top crime, the crime of the crimes. So it is the obligation erga omnes, the top obligations, I think. So when we're talking about the genocide, crime against peace and the crime against humanity, that our law students, they have to know the pros and cons of the top rank of the crime. So when they're working as the prosecutors and the other aspects of the role, at that time, they have to ensure the justice under this existing legal framework. So there has been three aspects: the international moot court competition of the IHL. In our age, while you're talking about the IHL, I went to the Bangalore in 2003 to conduct a course. At that time, there was no subject IHL teaching in our law school. So in my law school, it was introduced in 2008. So IHL, you have to know the IHL, International Humanitarian Law, to greatly understand all things about the genocide and related issues. So this is very important. So I sincerely believe all teams, because I have seen the draft of the memorial. This is very important and interesting also. So those who are participating in the moot court competition, I sincerely believe they'll be greatly benefited and they will know the all technical aspects of the genocide conventions, international criminal courts, and the Geneva Conventions also. And if we look at the law has the multidisciplinary approach. So the NILS rightly pointed out, this is not only for the law students, but if we look at the second segment, international poster presentation on the gender-based violence, this is very important. If we look at the Rohingya camp, immense, I think a loss of the gender-based violence, not only in the Rohingya camps, but in our society. So when you're talking about the poster presentation, in short, the participants know the all aspects in a single poster. So this is for not only the law students from the social science background, political science, and the human rights, as well as the criminology. So this is another important segment. Last but not least, international webinar on the justice mechanism for genocide. It supplement the first one. So I have seen the resource person. I have seen the resource person. So please, I request someone you have to meet. So I have seen the resource person of the webinar. All are a very renowned resource person. They are from the home and abroad. So I sincerely believe those who participated in this international law fest, you will be immensely benefited. So I'm really sorry to make my speech long, but I should not miss this opportunity because this is my proud privilege to be the chair where our legendary justice Imman are here, our great Mufidul Haq Bhai here, and other dignitaries here. So I sincerely believe this is started. In our time, we don't have such kind of the organization. But this is not the organization, but the international organization. And I sincerely believe our law students will be immensely benefited. But don't forget your root. Don't forget your freedom fighters. Don't forget the color of the red and the green. Don't forget the Rabindranath Thakur. Don't forget the Kazi Nazrul Islam. Don't forget the Sukanta Bhattacharya. আমাদের তো এটা মানতেই হয়। আমরা যত কিছুই করি না কেন এই বাংলার কাছেই আমাদেরকে ফিরে আসতে হয়। আমার এই মায়ের ভাষা, এই মধুর ভাষা, আমরা তো বাঙালি জাতি, আমরা শুধু আমাদের দেশের জন্য যুদ্ধ করিনি, আমরা আমাদের ভাষার জন্য যুদ্ধ করেছি। আমি একদম খুব গভীর অন্তর্দৃষ্টি দিয়ে বিশ্বাস করি। শেষে একটু বাংলায় বলছি কারণ খুব প্রাণ কাঁদে। আমরা তো স্বাধীনতা উত্তর প্রজন্ম। আমার মায়ের মুখে শুনি আমাদের ঘর বাড়ি জ্বালিয়ে দিয়েছে। অল্প সময়ের জন্য আমার বাবা বেঁচে গেছে, কিন্তু যারা তাদের বাবাকে হারিয়েছে, যারা তাদের প্রিয়জনকে হারিয়েছে, তারা জানে এই প্রিয়জন হারানোর ব্যথা কোন ধরনের। এবং এই দেশ যারা আমাদেরকে উপহার দিয়েছে তাদের বুকের রক্ত ঢেলে, মফিদুল হক ভাইদেরকে আমি স্যালুট করি। আমি তো একদম যতবার কথা বলে আমি মনে করি যে সেই আপনার একদম অত্যধিক গরমের ভিতর, খরার ভিতর আপনাকে দেখলে ইমান আলী স্যারকে দেখলে আমার মনে হয় যে এক গ্লাস ঠান্ডা জলের অনুভূতি আমার ভিতর তৈরি হয়। কারণ আপনারা আমাদের মাথার উপর বটবৃক্ষের মতো আছেন। আমি আমার প্রিয় ছাত্রছাত্রীদেরকে বলে, তুমি যত কিছুই করো না কেন, তুমি যতই বিজ্ঞ হও না কেন, এই দেশ, এই মাটিকে যদি তুমি ভুলে যাও, তাহলে তোমাকেও কিন্তু এই দেশ ভুলে যাবে, তোমার বাবা মা ভুলে যাবে। এই জন্য আমি বলি, ডোন্ট ফরগেট ইউর রুট, ডোন্ট ফরগেট ইউর কান্ট্রি, ডোন্ট ফরগেট ইউর ম্যাপ, ডোন্ট ফরগেট ইউর ন্যাশনাল অ্যান্থেম। আমার সোনার বাংলা, আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি। এভাবে ভালোবেসেই আমরা থাকতে চাই। আমাদের দেশের উন্নতি দৃশ্যমান, ওই কথা আমি আর বলতে চাই না। আমরা ভিশন 2041, আমরা অবশ্যই একটি উন্নত বিশ্ব হিসাবে, হয়তো আমরা থাকবো না, মফিদুল হক ভাইরা থাকবে না, কিন্তু তোমরা যারা আছো তোমরা অবশ্যই এই মুক্তিযোদ্ধাদের যে অবদান, সেই অবদান অবশ্যই তোমাদেরকে স্বীকার করতে হবে এবং তাদের অবদানে আমরা সারা বিশ্বে স্থান করে নেব। I wish you a great success of this International Law Fest, and last but not least, I convey my thanks and gratitude as chairperson, as advisor of the NILS, to our chief guest, our Honorable Justice Sir, our Mufidul Haq Bhai, এবং আমাদের অন্যান্য যারা অতিথিরা রয়েছে। So thank you so much. With these words, I have to conclude my speech. Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to you all.
Dear audience, I am now completely pleased to greet our Honorable Chair, Professor ABM Abu Noman sir, and thank you deeply for your valuable presence.
Honorable guests, your presence on this grand inauguration ceremony will be a memory we will always preserve as treasure. At the same time, we sincerely thank you for your each and every word which is counted as gems. Dear audience, thanks for your company.
আমি একটু সময় নিচ্ছি মিম স্যার,
Sure, sir.
অনারেবল চিফ গেস্ট স্যার, স্যার আপনি কি শুভ উদ্বোধন ঘোষণা করেছেন? করে না থাকলে স্যার আপনি এক লাইনে একটা শুভ উদ্বোধন ঘোষণা করে দেন স্যার। আপনার সরি স্যার।
I think I did mention that I hope I did mention that I wish you all success.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And I declare this open.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Dear audience, thanks for your company and spending your valuable time here. And we are very pleased to see your engagement from the very beginning to the end of the ceremony with great patience and full attention.
Dear audience, we hope you all will ensure your attendance in every segment of the grand and gorgeous event of the year organized by NILS Bangladesh. Besides this, we have all the best wishes for the energetic participants for their competitions. And once again, many thanks to our media partners, the Daily Star, Bangla News 24, Desh TV, News Now 24, and Radio Today 89.6 for their cooperation to this event successfully.
Dear audience, now we are at the end of today's arrangement. May I now please draw the kind attention of the participants of second IHL Moot Court competition. Please do not leave the room and wait until our guests leave the platform. There is a briefing session for the mooting participants about tomorrow's all-day long moot court competition.
স্যার আপনাকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ। Justice sir, thank you once again for giving us